So how can you
Mm-hmm.
encourage the students to identify the bias, to be more
Mm-hmm.
observant, and then to note it down? What kinds of provocations or case studies or artists or stimuli help
Mm-hmm.
trigger these deeper thinking conversations in your students? Welcome to the Visible Studio, a podcast that brings together artists, designers, and creative educators from around the world to make learning visible. Through conversations around pedagogy, inquiry, curriculum design, and studio practice, this platform explores how creativity can shape meaningful education. In today's episode, we are diving into the fascinating intersection between the arts and the theory of knowledge in the IBDP program. We will explore how TOK can naturally emerge through art making and creative inquiry in the classrooms. For today's guest, we have Albert Nii Nortey, or Al Ninod. He's an IB TOK educator, MYP visual arts examiner, and a practicing artist based in Ghana. Since 2019, he has taught across the IB program, including visual arts and theory of knowledge, fostering creative thinking, creativity, and global-minded inquiry in his classrooms. As a practicing artist working under the same name, Al Ninod, his creative practice transforms discarded material, such as African wax prints and newspapers, into works that explore layered histories, identities, and narratives. Welcome, Al Ninod, and thank you so much for agreeing to be on our show. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Debjani.
Debjani, yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Yes. So as you rightly said, I'm very excited about TOK. I have students who, when they come in from the MYP, some didn't have any knowledge at all. But because of the excitement and how the class is shaped, they are able to also feel that excitement. So I'm happy to share something about TOK. Yes. So I'll be sharing my screen. All right. So a little about myself. As I said, my name is Albert. My full name is Albert Nii Nortey Dowuona, and Al Ninod. So Al Ninod is the ALNIINOD. This is my full name. My students enjoy calling me that, and I also enjoy responding to that. So I'm an IB educator. I'm also MYP visual art examiner and a practicing artist in Ghana. So I started teaching since 2019. I started with the PYP. So I taught PYP visual arts. Then I went into MYP, then added the DP. And in a DP, my first year of teaching DP, I was introduced to the TOK, and I've enjoyed it ever since. I guide learners through critical thinking, both in the art studio space and in the TOK classes. Also helping them to come up with creative expression and global-minded inquiry. Currently, I teach in Tema International School, where I continue to shape holistic and reflective learners. My teaching approach is inquiry-based, and I allow students to ask questions. I ask them questions, and I make them to come up with knowledge questions, especially during the TOK lessons. My class is mostly learner-centered, and I incorporate a wide range of pedagogical strategies to support diverse learning needs, encourage experimentation, and promote interdisciplinary connection, especially between the arts and the other areas of knowledge. As a visual artist, I work under the name Al Ninod. My practice focuses on discarded materials such as African prints, newspapers, lotto papers, materials that carry layered histories and narratives. And you can see clearly that the experience of TOK is reflected in my
your own
practice.
personal work, yeah, your
Yes.
practice, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. I hope to see some of your own works too.
Sure, sure. If you go on Instagram,
Yeah.
I have an Instagram page, Albert Nii Nortey Dowuona. You see some of my works
Yeah.
there.
And it's
Yeah.
also there on the screen, right? So we can find you from there.
Yes. All right. So today I'll be talking about okay. Yes. I'll be talking about approaching TOK through the arts.
Yes.
I'll be discussing how we design our units, how we come up with and knowledge and inquiry questions in our class. So a bit structure about how we run the TOK. So in our TOK lessons, one thing we pay attention to is the mixed disciplinary context. So we have teachers who are not at related. So we have individual and society teachers, we have humanity teachers, we have science teachers, language teachers who during the unit, the area of knowledge, even math teachers during that area of knowledge, they'll be teaching the arts because our class is divided into sets. And in the set, we have a mixture of different students. So we also have students who in their HL and their SLs, they don't have any arts background at all. Others also join the school that they know nothing about art. The best thing they know about art will be maybe Mona Lisa, Van Gogh, or yes, that's just to name a few. So they don't have any
knowledge for them. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. But they are still engaged in the arts, and this tells you how TOK is. That it's not content based. It's not like content is not important, but the most important thing is the knowledge questions, how we engage with the knowledge questions. So these are the things that we always hammer in the class. When students kind of are disposed, it's like, I don't like the art, I'm a science person, and we tell them it's not the content, it's generating knowledge questions and questioning what has been presented to you. So that's usually the structure. And when it comes to the lesson, we are designing our unit, we start with a clear objective. So when we start, especially the area of knowledge, we as a staff, we sit down and we discuss, okay, what are the things that we want them to discuss? We look at the global trend, what is happening. So in my art team like this, we look at maybe art exhibitions that have come, that have probed some questions and questioning even the definition of art and all those things. So we start with those objectives. Then we also look at intentional engagement. How can we engage our students to discuss this particular topic without talking about the content? Will they be able to have enough knowledge questions to discuss? Then we facilitate discussions, and our class always ends with an individual reflection, which is very important. So we use manage back. So after every class, they reflect on the lesson or a question that we give them based on the units that we are running.
And these meetings that you have within the team,
yes.
Is it department specific, or you have it with all the TOK teachers, unpacking the inquiry questions?
Okay, so we plan it in the class, like as a department. So currently in the art department under the TOK, I'm with the theater teacher. Okay. So it's only the theater teacher and I, the visual art teacher, who are part of the TOK team. Okay. So when we are planning, it's only the two of us that plan. But after I have discussions with the other teachers, and I give them like the way the unit is structured or the lesson is structured, they can easily follow and discuss, because it's about knowledge questioning, not necessarily the content. So it's easier for them to follow
that. Okay.
And one thing that is central to us is how can the arts help students understand knowledge. So all the time, even in our planning, how can they use the arts to understand knowledge? So usually, personally, in my TOK class, when we are discussing something, and things like the concepts come in, I let them see how the arts contribute to some of these things, or easily related to that. So issues about truth. So I tell then we bring in when we talk about truth, what can be what is truth? People bring in understanding that is related to truth, but not truth. So they talk about the real. I say reality is different from truth. They say but the thing looks convincing. Being convinced is different from truth. So then we try to understand that truth can be devoid of all these other synonyms that we are talking about. So when we are talking about truth, are we talking about that it is real? Are we saying that it is convincing? Are we saying that it is objective? Just recently, we had a discussion in the TOK class. And so sometimes in a visual arts class, I have some of my students who are part of my set in TOK. So it's easy to bring it in. We have a separate class for TOK. So sometimes I recall some of the things we just learned in TOK, just for critical thinking, especially for critical thinking. So we had this discussion, and we're talking about objectivity. And I was even telling them that there is a level of subjectivity in objectivity. Then we're like, how? So I said, even photography, when you take a photo and you take a picture of a place, it looks like the place, but there has been a level of abstraction. The photo minimizes some of the expressions and just express it. So there's an abstraction in that. And the moment something is abstracted, it's not objective again. So they were like, so how? So now, how do you discuss objectivity without bringing in subjectivity? So I'll tell them that even in subjectivity, you have to be objective before you can be subjective. So they were like, so then I brought in
reminds me of this very nice example of the pipe. This is not a pipe, by René Magritte.
Yes.
Good example to go.
We've had that discussion before, and they were like, but it's a pipe. I said, no, it's not a pipe. I said, look at it closely, and what are you really seeing? Then somebody said that, okay, it's an image of a pipe. Is it not? And I said, yes. So it's an image of a pipe, but it's not the pipe. It's not the actual pipe. It's an image. So just bringing in that an image of a pipe changes the whole
entire
narrative.
context of it. Yes,
exactly. So I always probe their mind into those little significant pointers that could change the whole narrative. And sometimes as I'm doing it, I tell them that in your essay, this is how you should structure it. When it comes to the exhibition, pay attention to this. So they are able to bring in that. Yes, they need guidance at every point, but these are the things that happened in the class.
And also with these examples, I feel it's so much easier for the students to connect the dots with these examples that you're giving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think maybe because I have a wide range of understanding and knowledge in different areas of knowledge, because as an art teacher, one advantage we have is the ability to enter into different areas of knowledge to fish out ideas and information to enhance our practice. So I'm learning history, I'm learning science, I'm learning this just to bring it into my context. So as an art teacher, so as an art teacher, naturally you are a TOK embodiment.
Yes.
And I think it's a very good advantage that we have.
And you're always
Yes.
invested in so many other things, be it politics, be it environmental,
Exactly.
be it other things. Be
Exactly.
passionate, you get deeper into all of
Yes.
that. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. So we have also a certain cycle that we use in preparation of the lesson. So we usually start with an experience. The experience usually can come in a paragraph, a
Mm.
quotation, um, a book, uh, just a page in a book, or videos
Yeah.
that will
Or a film.
like bring
Yeah.
a film.
Yeah.
Yes, so something that will trick their mind in a
Mm.
discussion. Sometimes that is not some of the time, not all the time. It's just a starter.
Mm.
And those ones are just to start and to let them prepare their mind to question things. Then when we bring in the real thing we are discussing, because their mind is questioning, they can use it to discuss what is on board.
Mm.
Then we do a lot of questioning. So apart from the main questions that we've set out to discuss, whilst we are discussing, we still question the responses that comes. So we can have a class that and this thing is also very important because when we are planning, we also time our lesson. So
Yeah.
for every section is timed, because if you don't take care, you will keep questioning and just be
Yes.
only doing that one
Yes.
aspect,
Yeah.
and it will exhaust the time.
Mm.
So we have limited time, like 15 minutes, 10 minutes for discussions. So we have individual thinking, then group discussion, then the whole class presentation or
Mm.
discussion. So these three things, and the personal reflection.
Mm.
So usually when it is getting too much and we know that this time is going to be exhausted, we bring it into personal reflection. So I ask them to write it down in your free time, reflect on it, so that you still have that time to be reflecting.
Mm.
Then the concept link. Without this, you are not discussing TOK.
Mm.
Yes, without this, you're not discussing TOK. So as a teacher, you should be mindful of that your discussion doesn't go outside of TOK boundaries.
Yeah.
It's allowed for it to go, but it shouldn't go too much that we are lost.
Yeah.
So all the time, you should be bringing, especially
Bringing the thread
knowledge
back to,
questions.
yes, coming back to the
Exactly.
concept link.
Yes, exactly. So connecting it back to the TOK teams, the knowledge question, let them understand that it is not content we are discussing. We are talking about knowledge question. We are not talking about the context even per se about the way. We need a context to discuss, but we are interested in the knowledge in that work, the knowledge that work is producing.
Hmm.
Then the reflection, which I've spoken to it about. Then application. Our application goes into the essays and exhibition. For me, since I have some of my students in my set, I tell them, I point it out to them. So you see this aspect, write it down. It can help you to investigate more into what we are doing.
Hmm.
Right now, in the new guide, we are doing inquiry questions.
Yeah.
So I use that to help them to reshape their inquiry questions or an area or aspect that they can investigate into.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yes, so that connection is always
Already there. When you're
happening.
planting that seed into the child's head, the person is already connecting it in the visual
Exactly.
arts with their inquiry question.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So these are some of the lessons that we've done. So in the arts, our first lesson is defining what art is.
Yes.
And in the defining what art is, we've used different exhibitions and different things that came into the art world that probe, and we're questioning the definition. So I mean, those who had just the knowledge of art being a painting, a sculpture, a needlework, started questioning those things. And it's interesting because, especially when it's coming from somebody who is non-art, the person is able to relate with it more. than those who are already inside. Because those who are already inside, they always have that conditioned mind of questioning and bringing in the non-conventional. But the new ones, the response. So something like the comedian, when he came, he shook the art world. I mean, showing this in class, someone like, what is this? So it means that I can do this as art. Then yes, we use it to also talk about the intention of the artist and whether this can be considered as art, then what went into it, but before the person decided. We showed a whole video, not just this one, and the place where another collector took the work and ate it. So it was like, so after eating it, is it still the art? Then we introduced that this is conceptual. That's why we say this is a concept. So the concept exists. So anywhere you tape a banana, it doesn't make it original. Then someone says, what is original? But banana is not original. The duct tape is not original. The idea of taping something is not original. So now we have to even discuss what is original in art.
In the concept.
Then also, the core inquiry is, to what extent does an artist's intention shape the meaning and value of an artwork? So we discuss all these things. And
also what emotions does it generate?
Exactly. I was going to talk about it. The sentiment. Moving away from sentimental to facts and to the knowledge that is being discussed. Because a lot of students' sentiments are aroused, like, what nonsense is this? What is this? So we allow them to express it, but now express it in thought and evidence. So I always tell you, whatever you say, there should be an evidence. Don't just be hypothetical. What if, no, don't be hypothetical. Let there be a real world experience evidence. Bring in the knowledge that is being discussed.
So you back your arguments. They back their arguments then.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So, even at times we even go very hard in mindset, because I've conditioned my students. When you bring in an example and you don't bring an evidence, we tell you that sit down, wait when you get a strong backing to back it, then you can continue the discussion. So it always moves the student to look for evidence to support their argument, and it helps them to deeper. So that's the first lesson. The second lesson, we look at the ethics and the purpose of arts. That's how we structured it. So the definition and the ethics in art, and about the analytical split, that should art be used as a normal instrument, or should it be aesthetic? Is it functional or for aesthetic purpose? Some of those discussions that we look at. Then the ethics, can we truly separate the artistic personal action, that's the intention, from evaluating the artwork? Like is the artwork devoid of the artist from the artwork? Is it possible? Exactly. Then this one, we bring in examples where it can be and it cannot be. We look at using commissions. I always tell students, anytime you're talking about objectivity, don't leave this example of commissioning, because if somebody commissioned you to do an artwork and it tells you specifically what he wants, you have to be objective. So in that way you can discuss objectivity. But if the person still commissions you and tells you do whatever you want, that's where subjectivity can come in. So I usually help them, especially those who are not in art, to use those two examples. To the moment you talk about objectivity and subjectivity, they can use those examples.
That's a very good example, actually, to keep them in the highway, not let them go in different directions.
Exactly. So the first lesson, we always look at the definition of art. Then the second, we are looking at ethics and the purpose of art. Why do people make art? And we look at the analytical splits. And in that too, one thing I always also bring to mind is my practice. So I make them aware that an artist can produce an artwork just for himself as a study. And a lot of studies has become popular. So if I'm doing a study, basically it may not have any aesthetical purpose. It's just a study that the person is making. So consider all those things. A lot of artworks that have become popular were the artist's personal studies. Yes, so we look at all those.
And the artist journaling, right? Like your own journals.
Exactly.
When you travel,
the whole journal.
hot journals or something.
Yes.
I do the same. I carry all my multiple journals together, and that's for the class to see, because it also kind of captures your own journey, and that encourages the student to start their own journaling.
Their own journey, yes. I think recently I did that with my colleague. Currently, my colleague is the one teaching the grade 11th. I was teaching grade 12, so they just finished. But we still have that class time with them. So we all brought our personal journals, our sketchbooks. It was like this, a whole collection. They were like, wow. So they had to go. They saw our writing, the write-ups, the small sketches, the sketches that didn't work well, those that went well. It's just to encourage them, to let them see that it's possible.
Yes, and even as teachers,
and now because of digital,
like teachers, right? We also struggling, and we're constantly improving. And to show them that it's okay, every day we may not draw the same way, so it's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and because of digital tools, some of the students don't want to write. They don't want to take the pencil to draw. It's a challenge that we are having. As much as possible, we are trying to help them and encourage them to add the traditional tools also to it. So the third lesson, recently we added AI. Just recently, we usually used to do digital tools, but this time we looked at AI, and because of the current discussions on AI and the computer or the robot that was painting was also became a discussion that we had in class. And there was one that we also discussed. We looked at it, a video. It was different prompts that were given to the AI, and it created a new artwork which never existed.
Okay.
And we use it to discuss who owns it. Is it the person that generated the prompt? Is it the AI? And one of the interesting discussions that we had, someone was like, oh, it's not AI because it's the human that inputted, and that garbage in, garbage out theory. And I came in and I was like, okay, so as humans, we were also born without any reference. We received certain things. We're influenced. We are influenced. Those who stay in different places are influenced by different places. So those are prompts that have also reshaped us. So when we produce, who is the owner? Is it the influence and the environment that we stay in?
Or then it's the us?
Or us? They were like, oh. Now the discussion became very interesting.
That's a fantastic parallel, I would say. I'm going to use this in my class. That's such nice parallel. So true.
Yes. Yeah. And just recently, before we ended our lessons on TOK, this was even far after we've discussed this. We were discussing on Jean Piaget, what's the name? And we're using it to discuss AI, the current AI trend. That in AI, we are teaching the AI to know this from that, to be able to separate this knowledge from that knowledge. And this is exactly how children are taught. They mention something is wrong, you show them the right thing and they learn. So the person was like, so now is AI the new baby that we are training? Even though we'll be saying that we are training AI, but the students use that knowledge to really understand what it means by training AI and teaching AI. Yeah. So those are some of the discussions that happens in our class. We ask, can AI generated art be considered an original source of knowledge? And the ethical editing, unpacking the data-driven nature of AI. I mean, this is a serious discussion that's been happening politically and even as a society, the data-driven. Then also the challenge is it poses to traditional notions of the artist. Should artists receive it? Should they reject it? Those are some of the discussions. Usually our discussions don't if you are discussing knowledge, it doesn't end in a conclusion.
One side. It is about the both sides, There is no right or wrong to it.
Exactly. So we look at one thing I always tell my students is pay attention to what extent that phrase, to what extent. So anytime you are discussing, understand to what extent. So your knowledge will end at a certain point. And from that point, there will be another truth that is coming. You have to pay attention to that one as well, so that you not be biased.
Yes. And you would also know the limitations of your knowledge.
Exactly.
To acknowledge if your knowledge gets over and there is a beginning of a new knowledge that way.
Yes. So all these things happen a lot, and this brings into the perspective engine. That's ambiguity. I mean, we cannot be so influenced from different points, and we are coming from different backgrounds, received from different teachers, and all those things. So all these things come. So the embracing ambiguity. I think you asked a question about that.
Yes, exactly. I had a question about it, and it's so true.
Yes.
I guess it also, as an artist, it makes you a better person once you understand, and you accept that ambiguity in the world. So you're not constantly running after the one truth, because that one truth may not exist. So
and you have to be sincere as well.
So true.
Because the artist producing it, somebody producing it, the person will be subjective in a way, even in that objectivity. We use single artistic prompts to trigger radically diverse student responses, proving that viewpoints are conditioned by culture, language, and background. Students learn that operational knowledge isn't about certainty, it's about managing complexity. And when a student is able to capture this, their essays become very beautiful, and it helps them to bring in the last part, the conclusion, and the before it moves into the 9 and 10. I don't know why today all my TOK terms are vanishing.
No problem. It will come back to you.
Yes, but it really makes their essay rich, and they are mindful of their bias that they have. They make it known, they explain it, they bring evidence to that, and the other diverging perspective that contradicts what they are saying, which they are aware of, and the implications. Yes, that's what I want to say. So when they bring all these things together, there is not the complexity. They are able to derive the implication of the knowledge they have, the bias they have, and the divergent. And it makes the essay very rich and concrete. And it can move them into the 9 and 10. So as artists teaching TOK, we should use all these things, because when we are producing art, we use them in producing our art. So we should bring it into the TOK class and TOK perspective. Yes. So I have like 4 guidance for the teacher. Yes. I mean, the main thing you should understand is that sentiment. Even in the art class, when a student produce something, like they are painting a chair, and a student is using a different color that is not the color that is being represented. I mean, instead of being sentimental and say that this is not the color, this is that, let's probe into it. Maybe ask questions. Why is the person using that? You may be surprised that scientifically or biologically the person is colorblind. So this is where TOK helps us to even be considerate, that when you question and you get to know that no, this biologically, this is how the person sees and this is how the person relates with objects. So we start with observation, then convert visuals into claims. Like whatever you see is a claim. So the moment this is what you see, that means, and you're able to share it, know that is a claim, and it has to be logical as well. Then justification. Always when there's a claim, there should be justification. Someone will say that, oh, I just feel. No. What made you just feel?
Yeah.
Yes. What were the things that made you just feel? We want to know those things. Then now, when mentioning those things, then we can go deeper into, maybe you came from a family that your father has collected a certain type of artworks in the house. Those are the artworks that you've seen. So because of that, that's where you align to. Or you are very good in sketching and being objective and realistic in your painting and in your drawing. So because of that you feel that is the best way of expression. So all these things are very, very important. Usually when I'm discussing, especially in the art class with the students.
I often feel also evaluate. I had this question that I often feel that the students, or even us, we're not always conscious of the biasness. So how can you encourage the students to identify the bias, to be more observant, and then to note it down, So
okay, this one I'm bringing into the art, the visual art, right from MYP to DP. I have a lot of discussions with students. So usually I have engagement with students aside from the classroom experience. This is me personally. That's how, and I feel students even open up more when they are not in their class. So maybe as you are working for lunch, or they will be discussing, this work that you did, tell me more about it. As they are sharing, I'm also paying attention, and I have a lot of discussion with students. Then probing into it, you see where the limit is coming from and where the influence is coming from, especially if you have immersed yourself in art history and discuss art or seen different types of art. Then you see where the person is coming from. Sometimes is that easy to spot. It just needs a little time, observation of what the person is doing. And whilst the person is discussing, maybe as the student discussing in class, maybe critique session, they are very technical. They want to use the right words, the right explanation, and which may not be evidence in the work that they produce. But when they are discussing with their friends and just normal, like, okay, oh, what are you doing? This. Those are the real things that the person is considering when working. Yes, so I pay attention to that. So my critique sessions are there. It happens, but my more engaging time is whilst they are working and they are discussing with their friends.
With their friends.
Yes, especially, exactly.
So you're emphasizing on the role of the teacher as an observer. When they are in their own space, working on their own artwork or having dialogues with their friends.
Yes.
And that is where your observation and your notes comes in. And then help that, use that to help the students identify the bias.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what the new visual art guide even brings in. That even as a teacher, you are guiding a student, you should set up the studio space that they are able to move freely and engage with their students, with you and everybody freely. And so even at a point, their subconscious will be able to say the things that we're actually thinking about, that they have not even considered. I've had a chance, those who finished grade 12, just discussing with them, I realized some of the things they were discussing were off from what they were doing. And as they were discussing with their friends, they were mentioning the exact thing. Then I started picking them, researched about it, then used it to re-guide them. And that's why they were able to finish their exhibition and their personal project. Yes. So I was like, you were discussing this. You said this. Have you seen this artist? Have you do you know about this artist? I said, search for. It's like, hey, wow, the person works like me. This is what I was thinking about. Okay, so research. So this is what the person does. So look at how you can also meet it. So they first understand what the person is doing, and that one helps them to do their critical investigation. This is what the artist is doing. So I pay attention a lot to their discussions, their informal discussions.
And it's a good thing that you also mentioned about creating that space, the studio space, where it's like a safe space for them to be their own original self. Because that's also a challenge with the teens. Yeah.
So for me, these are the guides I'll give the teachers, like converting visual into claims. Train students to translate their intuitive response into logical, structured assertions. The students have a certain intuition. That intuition can be logically constructed. Yes, it can be logically constructed. So we have to train the teachers, the students, how to spot it. Like, why am I paying attention to this part of the whole figure? I'm seeing a figure, but I'm moved towards this. Why? Be truthful about whatever you've seen, the emotions, and maybe you've seen it somewhere and it's intriguing to you. Then you start investigating, why is it intriguing to me?
And then
that one becomes
you ask
exactly
the questions.
Yes. Then from there we start doing that. So the assessment, as we said, is more like the application. So by treating the arts as a rigorous lab for TOK, final assessments become natural extensions of daily classroom dialogue. So they don't struggle to find objects to discuss. In the discussion, it becomes natural because they've already been having such discussions in class. Then students move beyond generic templates to build authentic, independent inquiries that resonate with DP examiners. So if you are reading an essay that is authentic, you feel it, you can see it based on the examples, and you can see the depth of knowledge that the students have. Even in the word limit, you can see. So these discussions and things are very important. And as artists, we have it naturally. In our daily practice, we've been using it. So we just have to we have to be mindful of it and bring it into our classroom.
Our classrooms,
Yes. So I have just 2 more slides left. Yes, I think then we are done. So the core student development, that's the awareness, which I've been talking about over and over, the criticality and the inquiry. So the awareness, that's developing deep perspective awareness and sensitivity and cultural bias. The students have to be aware. Yes. The awareness is the first prompt.
First thing, yes.
Yes, it should be the first prompt. That's why in our TOK lessons, when we start the TOK, the first unit we run is the identity. To know who you are. To know, so if you are aligned to something, you should know that you've already examined who you are. So you are aware of your bias and your sentiments and everything. Then from there, since you're aware of it, you pay attention to the other perspectives. Then criticality.
And then,
exactly.
And then slowly peeling it like the onion, or understand the things surrounding you.
Yes. Then criticality. sharpening critical thinking by interrogating received knowledge. I always hammer this in my students. I tell them, I'm religious, but when it comes to TOK, you have to question. You have to what you receive. Have you critically observed it? Yeah. So don't just be taken by someone said according to research. Doctors say in medicine this. Go deeper into that. You realize that it was not a research body, but it was an individual who did a certain experiment and brought it out, and making it as if it was a whole body of researchers. So being critical about the knowledge and the things we receive. Then the inquiry, mastering independent inquiry and nuance justification skills. You have to go deeper, master that individual independent inquiry, and bringing that justification. These are very core things that we have to develop in our students: the awareness, the criticality, and the inquiry. They become very rounded, and I think that's the core essence of the TOK.
Yes,
I think so. That's the essence of the TOK. So making TOK visible, knowledge is constructed, not just received. I know some of my in as much as I was writing it, I was also questioning the things that I was also writing. So I'm also aware of my limitation, that knowledge is not constructed. I know we've had a lot of discussion. Is knowledge constructed, or is it discovered? So for now, what I would say is that knowledge is constructed, not just received. The arts are the ultimate canvas to make that process real.
Yes. So one question that would come from here itself is, do you feel that an inquiry question unpacked by an individual would be different if that individual changes? For example, two teachers approaching the same inquiry question, but from different fields.
Yes. It will be based on a lot of things. The knowledge depth, and let's say, for instance, if you start as an artist, you start with a certain question. You will not start from what you've already discussed and known. You're not starting from a new point. You start from a depth that is deep. That is deep. Even though you may start gradually, but it's more like you are swimming. If you know how to swim, you will not start swimming from the surface. You walk and get into the deep before you start swimming. Before you start swimming. Exactly. So that depth of knowledge is shaped by society, shaped by influence, shaped by knowledge, the depth of information that you have. All these things comes in.
That's so again, now acknowledging our own bias as visual artists, do you think that visual language communicates knowledge more effectively than words?
Okay. I think recently I was telling my students that to make your writing concise, you have to use the terminologies and the visual language. It's very important. It's more like it encrypts it. It doesn't, because a certain word or phrase or sentence, when you take it to another area of knowledge, will change meaning. When you bring it into the art, it will also have another meaning. Something like appropriation, like a word like appropriation. The same writing is appropriate. appropriate. It's the same wording, there's different pronunciation, different meaning. And even when you take it to English, the way they see it is like you are stealing. But when you bring it into the art, it's not stealing. It's a very political tool that we use in expression. So the language is very important, and it helps to, it like fences the knowledge. It's able to categorize it well. Yes, we can break those fences and use it, but just know that the moment you break it, it will not be the same without it. So it's needed. It's very vital
Yes.
Yes,
And you
that's
think that in a school setup, if we can have this opportunity where the same question can be approached by multiple teachers from different disciplines, or if teachers could sit together, put their knowledge together and then
Mhm.
build on it, that would be helpful for the students, right? So that
Yes,
the different perspectives are got on the table.
exactly. Exactly. And yeah. And that, as you said, will even help them in the connection very well. Then they know that, oh, okay, so this question, as I'm discussing it, the moment I turn into another area of knowledge, it has brought in a whole
Whole new
different,
world. Yeah.
yes, and they could feel the limitation. And if it's well done, we can see the connections and see how different things are connected. It's like this one ended, but this one is able to connect that link. Maybe one is not able to connect that link because we've not structured it well. But when it's restructured, you see that everything becomes holistic, dependent on each other.
And
Yeah,
that network, the sooner the student can
exactly,
see that network of
exactly,
connected.
exactly. Like it becomes like a web, a
Well,
knowledge web.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that gets me to this next question about what kinds of provocations or case studies or artists or stimuli help trigger these deeper thinking conversations in your students. Do you initiate with some images? Like I know that you said either images or maybe a chapter from a book or maybe a proverb. And so what are your starting points?
Yes. So in the planning, we start with those provocatives like the video, and we start from real world things that has happened.
Okay.
Then we bring it in, and some of the examples the students have, because they are on the internet, they've come across it, but maybe they related with it casually, just from the news agency standpoint. But now we go deeper in the TOK. I think that's where the previous knowledge is important. I bring in a lot of previous knowledge. There are some of the previous knowledge which the students are not familiar with. So usually when I bring it in, and they are not aware of it, thank God for technology and internet. We are able to get in and see the thing real, like we see the thing, they react with it, then we start engaging. So my promptings could come from their previous knowledge, something they know about, something they are almost aware of, or it could be totally something new. But when it's new, I help them to get immersed into it, because without immersion in it, they will not be able to appreciate it well. So and we are all inside. Sometimes they also bring an example, I don't know. I quickly check it up, and I thought I'm also vulnerable. I don't know everything. So when they bring in something, then they educate me on that. They're like, oh, okay, so this. But have you considered it? Then I take over and start bringing out the knowledge patient. Then it expands the discussion. Yeah. So sometimes it can come from me. It can come from the students. It's flexible. I allow them to also bring in different examples, to make
perspectives.
Yes, exactly.
In that case, I feel it gets more authentic, and real.
Yes. That's why I said some of our prompts that we start with, they may not be related to what we are going to discuss. It's just a starter. I will not say just. It's a starter to start discussing something. It's more like you meet a friend. What are you going to talk about? You bring in something that will start the conversation. Then later, the real thing that you are discussing comes in. So
and you don't plan in advance. That this is what I'm going to discuss, but you get started.
Yes.
That's a nice way of putting that. So I know we also discussed a little bit about our journals, getting it into our classrooms. So how do you think that these sketchbooks and journaling process or curatorial notes, support the TOK understanding? How do they help the students? And this would be more specific for the art students.
For the art students.
Also have TOK, basically how would journaling help them,
Yes. More especially is the critical investigation. The critical investigation. And critical investigation is not it's not a standalone. It's the wording is critical investigation. What makes you critical is like when you are digging deep, and you need a lot of tools to dig deep. So it could be historical evidence, it could be cultural context, it could be a personal, intuitive, but you can't just use one tool to dig deep.
Yeah.
So I tell students to bring in a lot of tools. Yes, dyeing a color.
Yeah.
And how when you dye and you don't add a certain chemical, it will not stay with the cloth.
Yes.
That issues we bring in. We are talking about the Fibonacci sequence. So and these are critical investigation. Now, what went into that investigation? It came from somewhere, and this was the influence, and that was the influence. But this person got it. Then somebody said, "Oh, so he was not even the first person to even start it. Somebody started it, and not the original person." All these tools comes in to dig deep, but the more tools you use will help you to go deeper. Yes.
Yeah. So that brings us to almost the end of the episode, and we have a fun rapid fire round for Albert Nii. Are you ready? Shall we start?
Yes, we can start.
Okay. So, one artist every TOK teacher should know.
Vincent van Gogh.
Okay. A favorite TOK Christian connected to the arts.
Is art about subjectivity or objectivity?
One classroom activity students always remember.
Group discussion.
Process or product.
Process.
Museum, street art, or digital space.
Digital space.
One word that defines meaningful art education.
Complexity.
Okay. Sketchbook or digital portfolio?
Sketchbook.
An artwork that changed your thinking.
An artist, not an artwork.
Okay. You could name more than one art.
Jean-Michel Basquiat artworks.
Okay. One misconception about TOK in the arts.
It's about learning about artworks and artists.
Oh, yes. Very good. And this. So, coffee during your planning or after teaching?
Oh, during.
Okay. No, coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah, coffee during your planning or after the teaching?
Always during the teaching.
Okay. For me, all the time. Yes. Okay. So thank you so much for so generously sharing all your ideas and your experience with us. This will be really helpful for all the teacher community watching that.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Thank you too. And continue doing more episodes. I'll be following.
Absolutely. And I also want to thank you for making this presentation in such a short time and being so open to coming over and sharing all of this. I would share all your details in the YouTube description, so just in case other teachers would like to connect to you.
All right.
Yeah. And for all the educators out there, thank you for listening. This episode offers practical pathways to make TOK possible, authentic, and deeply connected to the students' lived artistic experiences. Whatever or whether through unit design, classroom dialogues, process journal, or curatorial inquiry questions, the arts can become one of the most powerful ways for students to engage with the complexity of knowledge itself. So, with that, thank you so much for joining and stay tuned for the next episode.